men in the photos are known only as the Three Tramps.
They started snapping pictures right about here.
This is Chauncey Holt, a career criminal now living in California. Holt claims that he is this man, the tramp in the hat. His story is fantastic.
This is the story of Chauncey Marvin Holt, a longtime contract agent for the Central Intelligence Agency and a mafia associate. You're about to see the interview conducted with Mr. Holt just 8 days before he died. This is his story.
Few people know the incestuous relationship that existed and probably exists at the moment between these various very powerful elements: organized crime, intelligence community, the political and powerful business interests. I felt that the American public had a right to know as many of the details that I have available. I grew up in southern Kentucky where bootlegging was a way of life. And it was probably the most important crop, just like marijuana is in certain counties now. And it was nothing unusual about bootlegging because when the Scotch-Irish immigrants came to Kentucky in the early part of the 17th century, they brought their stills with them. And whiskey making was one of their skills, and they always did it.
For the young Chauncey, there was no stigma attached to being a bootlegger.
Not only, distilled the whiskey, what we delivered it, usually to somewhere like Knoxville, Tennessee, which was close, about 40 miles, and we as far away as Cincinnati.
Chauncey Holt got around, and getting around got him in trouble. He ended up in reform school in Chillicothe, Ohio.
Now they have prisons for youthful offenders. That was what it would have been in those days, but they called it a reform school. And I'd been in there I got railroaded by the FBI for joyriding in a car. That was Hoover's big thing in those days, was catching youthful car thieves. Usually someone else caught them and they took the credit. And although we were right in the middle of the war, I mean, Hoover took the time to send wire after wire down to Louisville wanting to know why we hadn't been prosecuted. Gives you an idea what importance he placed on those type things.
This teletype, April 23rd, 1942, from Hoover to FBI Louisville office says, in part, Chauncey Marvin Holt et al. Advised by return teletype status prosecution of this case. In the event final prosecution complete, submit report immediately reflecting results of prosecution. It's signed Hoover.
While I was there, I met several people that were connected with organized crime. So he said, if you want, I'll put you in touch with these guys in Baltimore who work hand in glove with Meyer Lansky. One was Cy Bloom and his brother Morris. Cy Bloom handled all the bookmaking operations for Lansky in the Baltimore area. And then it was through that connection that he came down to, Lansky came down to Baltimore to visit with Cy Bloom and to see his son Buddy Lansky, who at that time was in the Phipps Clinic. He was disabled. He's in the Phipps Clinic, and I knew him. I had gotten acquainted with him, with Buddy, and we used to go over and play chess with him and that sort of thing, because I was doing some painting work for the restoring a painting right across the street.
Chauncey Holt's skills as a painter would serve him well. A Renaissance man, he developed other skills. He became an arms expert in the military, as well as learning how to fly an airplane. Holt also did another kind of flying, but not inside a cockpit.
My uncle, by marriage, owned a small one-ring circus. And from the time I was 6 years old, I mean, I was running up and down the tight wire, you know, swinging on the trapeze. I worked worked in this family circus, and I did a single trapeze act. I worked in a flying act. I did a low wire act, a high wire act, shot from the cannon, all that sort of thing, you know.
The circus performer in Chauncey Holt thought getting shot out of a cannon was a hell of a lot safer and easier than getting shot at. Chauncey's Baltimore connection with Meyer Lansky would lead to a long relationship with the mobster and other important mob figures, including the head of the Detroit family, Peter Licavoli.
I did a little work for him in painting. He sent some paintings over to me to be restored, and that started a relationship with Licavoli that lasted, well, it lasted 50 years. It lasted from 44 until the date of his death in 1984. I had a lot of other qualities that they liked. First of all, I was a pilot. Secondly, I was a very good shooter. I was a weapons expert. And of course the art didn't help, it didn't hurt, because it extended to forgery if necessary. And of course I was a very good accountant, very good money manager. And probably I did more money managing and more fiscal type work down through the years than I did the other types of work.
Chauncey's math skills, he was brilliant with figures, caught Meyer Lansky's attention.
So Lansky was coming down to Baltimore to see Buddy, and he was going to, check up on the operation, the bookmaking operation, and Cy Bloom called me. I was working in the shipyard. He called me and asked me if I'd like to come over and meet Meyer Lansky. So he told Meyer Lansky that I was a mathematical genius. Well, I may have seemed like a mathematical genius to him, but anyway, so Lansky came in and we were talking, and it turned out that he was like me in the sense that he used to work mathematical problems just like he'd work a crossword puzzle. He'd get a book with nothing but problems in it, mostly algebraic problems. So he said, I want to work out this little problem for you, and you show me the fallacy in it, because you start out with the premise and you end up and it looks like 2 = 1. So we go down through these equations, and it started out with A = B. Well, down in the middle of this computation, you divide by A minus B. Well, if A = B, A minus B is 0. So I pointed it out and I said, there's a fallacy. And he said, oh yeah, that's right. He says, anything divided by 0, the answer is 0. And so I told him, well, technically he was wrong for the simple reason that the answer is not